you then have after Bergomi, you have Lucio, and then obviously with Lucio it has to be Samuel, right? Because those two are not to be sold separately. I mean, it's those two who really were responsible for the solidity and for the spine, really, of the Inter Milan treble. I mean, that both aging players. I mean, Samuel was at Inter Milan for a couple of years, but he was aging. He was past his best at Roma, and he then obviously had Lucio, who played at Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern Munich as well, and again, we all thought, most critics thought, oh, this guy, this guy's over 30, over 30, and he's not good anymore. He's lost his pace, he's reckless, engaging in a lot of fouls. How can you have him? How can you have Walter Samuel? And how can you have Materazzi as your main centre backs and expect to win the Serie A, let alone the Scudetto, let alone the treble? I mean, a lot of doubts were there placed on Mourinho for these aging players who've seen the best of their days, really. And but Mourinho, credit to him, turned it around. But the reason why those two are so important, in my opinion, is that both of them are like the ugly sisters, as I call them. I mean, very aggressive, very nasty, very very streetwise, very very explosive, abrupt. Obviously, responsible for getting a lot of bookings, tactical foul suspensions, quite loud. Obviously with these defaults, but they with these flaws, they manage to challenge it in such a way that actually improves their game. The tackling of Walter Samuel. I mean, I don't think I've seen any tackler besides Vidic on par with Vidic, on par with Cannavaro, and on par with John Terry, who have tackled, obviously getting the ball as clean as a whistle, but also clearing the man himself in such a weird fashion. Some of the blockbuster tackles that I've seen from Walter Samuel, they look like 2-footed lunges, but actually he gets the ball clean as a whistle. It's quite incredible. He's an absolute brute, a brutal tackler, a criminal tackler, a serial tackler. But yeah, he rarely gets sent off for those tackles. If anything, he gets sent off for his obvious descent and for provocation. But he's a phenomenal. I don't think I've seen a tackler like him, honestly. Walter Samuel is just the most. You look at him and he looks intimidating. He's just not a happy guy. He's just a grump. He's the Sean Dyche of defending. Sean Dyche of defending is Sean Dyche, but he looks like Sean Dyche. He's the Argentine version of Sean Dyche, and he's just an absolute brute, absolute savage. Wow. I mean, some of the tackles, last minute tackles, last man defending, clearance off the line, even risky tackles in the penalty box. Walter Samuel's done them over and over and over again with absolute succession, with brilliance, without any fail, without any risk of getting into penalised or conceding a penalty. I mean, he is just the guy for tackling. I don't think I've seen a better tackle. As I said, he's on par with Cannavaro, Vidic, and Terry for me. I mean, I don't think I've seen absolute brute. And he's not the tallest guy. He is imposing, but he's not the tallest guy. He's quite a big guy, but he's not tall. But bloody hell, I mean, gosh, I have to have him in the team. I need him in the team in case Bergomi loses his man Lucio, who I'm going to talk about in a minute. Gets too carried away on the ball. You need someone on the last line of defense, and he is the guy. And then obviously Lucio. Why Lucio? I think Lucio, in my opinion, is this generation's best libero. I don't think I've seen a better libero, or someone who plays the libero role so well. You've got Beckenbauer back in the day, Matthaus back in the day. I'm trying to think of other liberos. Gosh, it slipped my mind. Sammer. Lots of them are Germans, but Lucio for me is just the best libero I've ever seen. A libero is someone who's got the freedom, the kind of the free pass to just go beyond his defensive lines and go and kind of ditch his defensive responsibilities for the purposes of connecting to the midfield, playing as a false defensive midfielder, but also to build up counter attacks, and to sustain, to kind of stimulate a play, in possession or out of possession. The guy, the libero, is, the bridge between defense and attack. And Lucio is the best, in my opinion, at doing that. He's got the perfect balance. Defensively, the best header of the ball, I think, I've ever seen. Yeah, I have to say so. Best header of the ball. Got excellent tactical awareness. Very, very intelligent. Excellent movement, excellent pace, as a Brazilian you would expect. Great passer of the ball. Yeah, and physically imposing. The guy's like over 6'2", and he's just bloody hell. You don't want to mess with him either. I mean, but he's not technically the most advanced or the most sound defender out there. Obviously, his marking is not great. He's perhaps too aggressive. That's why we need Bergomi to teach him the arts of marking. And he's not a great tackler. He risks getting fouls. He's like a Sergio Ramos, but a better version. Not better. I don't want to say better version of Sergio Ramos, but a more, I'd say, appealing to the eye, more elegant, because his tackling is quite aggressive. But I like that though. He does, at times he wins the balls and other times he doesn't. Whereas I think Sergio Ramos is a bit more cynical, a bit more negative. Tactical fouls, feigning injuries, trying to get people, in trouble. I think Lucio is like a Godin, but if Godin had roller skates instead of football boots, I think he would be Lucio. In terms of his tackling, in terms of his defending, his streetwise defending, you don't have to be in this position or that position. It's quite intuitive. It comes naturally to him. But Lucio has the pace. Lucio has the passing ability, passing expanse, and and creativity and vision as well. So as I see in that back three, you have the perfect balance. You've got the tackling, the hard hitter in Samuel. You've got the passer and the kind of intelligent, intuitive, street smart, defender who can get away with certain fouls. Might give you guys some breathing space when you want to, in terms of running down the clock, or also, building up play from the back. He is the guy. You then got Bergomi, who will help you with set pieces and marking and a hard worker and the sacrifice for the team. Sacrifice not in terms of getting fouls and giving them away, but sacrifice in terms of he'll go in there. He's a guy who's just ready to run, to seize every challenge, basically every opportunity that comes in front of him. If there's a guy coming to him, he'll go and get the guy. You're not going to see him go, okay, I'm going to shy away. He'll take it in the face, unlike Pogba, who'll go like that. If you saw the Wilfried Zaha mocking him to at the direction of Fernandez, was quite funny, I must say. I still think it's ridiculous. I don't understand. Pogba was already going to duck, and yet he put his hands up there. I don't understand that. But it's a better save than De Gea. What can you say? But yeah, you got that perfect three. Okay, so the wing backs, then you've got Javier Zanetti on the right back. The guy came as a right midfielder, centre midfielder, was then pushed out wide by Luigi Simone, who saw him more of a right wing back, lateral player, which I think he got that spot on, as he did with a lot of things, I must say. The guy is known for his stamina, for his leadership, for his intelligence. The guy is Inter Milan, got the record appearance holder. What can you say about Zanetti? The guy is literally the Inter Milan, is the face of Inter Milan, is the spirit, is the heart of Inter Milan. There is no Inter Milan without him, really. I go as that deep, in my opinion. Obviously, the left wing back has to be Chievo. Chievo, again, came to Inter Milan, much like Walter Samuel a couple of years after, as a kind of busted flush. This guy's done for, out of his depth, especially after Euro 2008, when Romania were completely poor and lost the plot, and in a tough group, in a group of death alongside France, Italy and Netherlands. But the guy was done, had poor form under the season before. The thrashing of 7-1, a lot of it came down his side. So people thought, oh, Chievo, this guy's done. Christian Chievo, done, finished. Unfulfilled promise, unfulfilled potential. untapped potential. So too Mourinho would recognize when he came to Inter in 2008, and the guy was a breath of fresh air, bombing down the wings, bombing down the wings, bombing down the wings. Versatility, able to play in left midfield, especially when Inter Milan had, as they had in most instances in big games, were down to 10 men. That guy will play both roles, the left wing back and the left mid. The guy worked tirelessly, bombing down the wings. An excellent crosser, an excellent set piece taker. One very intelligent guy, I must say. Again, not technically sound. He's not gonna beat a man. He's not a Dennis Irwin. He is more like a Robertson. He's just gonna go down there. He's a left wing back there to provide an alternative outlet, to stretch the pitch, to provide some sort of respite for Inter Milan when caught, when facing the onslaught of attacks and possession-based possession-based teams. He is there to provide an outlet. Just pass the ball to him. He will then try, beat the man or try and engage or provide an outlet, spread the pitch, allow space, in behind the opposition's midfield for players like Milito, like Pandev, like Eto'o to run into as well. Something that was very important is his relationship with Schneider, who would move to the left as part of his build-up play, would move towards the left, thread the ball towards his other side, which was a beautiful thing of Schneider, is that he would run on his left. Sorry, this is my left. Run on his left, but thread the ball towards his right, if he could, especially towards Eto'o, who would always drop back and play the kind of false number 9, if you like. And that was beautiful, that link, that kind of telepathy, that link up with Eto'o, provided space for Inter Milan, allowed them to really capitalize, to seize the counter attack. So I think that was a beautiful thing, his deft movement, his understanding, his telepathy with Schneider. And because of that, Schneider has to be in the team as well as my center attack and mid. So now Kievu, I've kind of explained in kind of brief terms why he has to be there, because again, a lot of these people often come with someone else who kind of understand them, and you need both of them to work. Lucio and Samuel, what's his name, Schneider and Kievu. So I'm going to talk about Schneider, who I think was the best player in 2010, and I think it was such a shame because in 2010 when he won the treble that he did not manage to win the World Cup. He didn't have the best performance in that World Cup, in the final in particular. I mean, he played well throughout, but I mean, I think that would be a beautiful moment as an Inter Milan fan and as a fan of Schneider, to see him win all full, to win the quadruple in succession, win the league, win the Coppa Italia, win the Super Coppa Italia, and then win the Champions League, and then win the Super Coppa Italia first. It's like the Community Shield, then Scudetto, then Coppa Italia, then Champions League, and then the World Cup, all in one season. I don't think there's anyone that's done that all in succession in the space of 2 months. I mean, I think that's just nothing short but a miracle of what could have been, counterfactual. I think anyway, he was the best player in that Inter Milan squad. As I said, always in a Mourinho team, always in a 4-4-2 team in these Italian sides, you need at least one creative player. Whether it's a Baggio, whether it's a Zidane, whether it's a Rui Costa, you need someone creative to provide, to change up the tempo, to provide some spontaneity, to provide an alternative outlet, but also to simplify things. You need that Papu Gomez like now, where the team are all pressing intense. You need an Eriksen less so in Inter Milan, where the team are pressing with the 100% intensity all the time. These players seem to get tired, get easily man-marked. You need someone who can be able to, see the eye of the tiger. See through the needle in the haystacks. That vision. You need that creative spark, and Schneider was that. An assist maker, beautiful foot that he's got. I mean, beautiful left foot that he's got. I mean, his shooting abilities is absolutely extraordinary, as it seems to be with many Dutch midfielders. But he was blessed with passing, shooting, set pieces, link-up play, movement as well. I think you can have all of that in a centre attack midfielder as a Dutch player. It's quite incredible. Yes, Gullit was like that as well. But I mean, Schneider really was a diminutive player, like Papu. Actually, yeah, he is like a Papu Gomez of now. Actually, I can actually have the, I can actually see that Papu Gomez. But obviously, Papu Gomez I think is a bit more classy and has more flair. I mean, the no-look pass, the excellent first touch. I mean, Schneider is not like that. Schneider is a bit more of a runner than Papu Gomez, who likes to sit back, you know, have a, I don't know, what's it's called? What's the Spanish Argentine steak? It's I don't know. It's asado. I think asado. I don't know. You know, it's one of their main dishes. My Spanish is gone, by the way, so I don't remember it very well. I think it's an asado. You know, he likes to sit down, breathe. You know, one look like an artist, just looks, and then he'd be able to help paint the whole. You know, paint the whole a look of his landscape and his surrounding, and then be able to paint it a complete picture. On his canvas, you know, he's that guy. Just needs one look, and he's able to make a decision. He's just so swift. His mind is so intuitive. It's so beautiful, you know. Papu Gomez and Schneider is like that, but with his movements more so than with his you know, with his passing, I'd say, or with his with his flair. I mean, Schneider is someone thinks as he goes along, whereas Papu Gomez already has an idea. But more or less, the main point is they're more or less the same. And that's what I want to get across, that Schneider is really the creative spark, underrated. I feel sorry for him when he was maligned at Real Madrid. But then that's what happened at Real Madrid, and this is why I don't really respect them. They hoard a lot of talent, and they deprive them, really. Lack of appearances, contractual problems, sending them out loan, you know, trying to really curtail and halt their progression, make them look bad, worse, much malign them, as they say, make them look worse than they are. We see that with Bale, for example. We've seen that with Robben. We've seen that with Van Nistelrooy. These players, we've seen that currently with Jovic. They buy these players, impressed by them, maybe because they played against them, or just because they've had one wonderful season, and then, you know what, we'll just take them in and do nothing with them and keep the status quo. That's the frustrating thing, and he's been a victim of that after having such a promising career in Ajax. And I'm happy that's such a blessing when he went to Inter Milan, and he did absolute bits, and was not there for long, was there for 2 years. After the World Cup, I think he went to I think he stayed for a bit under Benitez, and I think he went the season after, so 2011 I think, and then he went to Galatasaray, if I'm not wrong, where he did bits as well, and he's loved there. So, you know, chick bom bom, which is really how I describe most of his goals or most of his play, really, especially with Eto'o. And one of the things I liked about the Mourinho team, and why I call it masterclass, is the way that he managed to reassemble these players and give them a different direction in which it does not require much effort. What I mean is that Kievu, we're not going to make you improve technically on how to be a left back and how to defend. You do your thing, but actually we know what we're going to do. We'll make you go a lot wider, and actually we'll use you as the kind of false 11th player, is whenever we have a man send off, where we can play you in the left midfield, and then you can go out wide, and then, you know, beat the man or whatever, do your thing, cross balls into the box, provide space and time for Eto'o. Schneider, his brilliant, his technique still stay the same, but he was just being able to use it, you know, more fortuitously, able to, support Eto'o, who would then support Milito, or who would go for goal himself. You know, this is what was such a beautiful thing about that treble side, is that there was not really much to do with these teams, but other than just give them a clear-eyed direction of what needs to be done, being resourceful, using their abilities, using their profiles, and to full effect. And that's what Mourinho did very well, and that's why I loved that treble team so much. And that's why, as I said, this defensive unit and the midfield unit, well, the lateral and the midfield, because, as I said, Schneider likes to sway and shift and move. So he doesn't, he's not going to stay there like an Ozone, just stay there and, look for a pass. Like, he's like Papu Gomez, go out wide. He roams, free roaming, like I used to do back in the day at GTA, and not even do the mission, just free roam and just cause chaos and anarchy. That's what he does, and that's why he's such an important player. Right, okay, so I've named one of my midfielders. There's two more. One of them has to be Cambiasso, who I think is the best holding midfielder, in my opinion, in Inter Milan's if not recent, in Inter Milan's history of all time, complete history, let's say, of all time. That guy, my goodness me, he's a holding midfielder that plays like an attacking midfielder. Oh my goodness me, his passing, his vision, his movement, his interceptions, which is his weakest thing in the game. In his game, he does not intercept the ball very well. I mean, he does not. You don't see him break play like Kante. He'll just get it cleanly. He just basically collects the ball. He will dispossess you, or he'll just, rather what he likes to do, waits for the ball to be out in the open, out there for scraps, and he'll just go and find his way. You know, the guy is not defensive at all, defensively minded. Technically sound on the ball, my goodness me. Excellent link up, but you know what? He works hard. He'll drop back in the counter. He's not very fast. He's not got excellent stamina. You have to substitute him most times, maybe 65th, 70th minute. But my goodness me, that guy's a hard worker and he's a team player. That goal against Argentina was because of him, really. I think people need to remember that he was the main fulcrum in that goal against Serbia and Montenegro in 2006. That 22 pass, that goal that involved 22 passes. That goal, my goodness me, I think it was scored by him actually as well, if I'm correct. No, I'm not sure. I think it was scored by him, but I know he was the key guy with his passing, with his variance in his tempo. He'll go fast and then drop, go fast and then slow. He's so measured. That's what I was going to say. He's so measured on the ball. You know, he has the ball and he knows what he's doing. He takes his time. He does not make rash decisions. The guy is so reliable. But because, as I said, his defensive abilities are slightly limited. I mean, he is very good. I mean, you know, Inter Milan, especially under Mourinho, where he had to defend a lot, he was very good. I mean, at Real Madrid, they played him. Ironically, they played him as a cam, and they played the Seedorf as a CDM in Real Madrid. Whereas when we see Seedorf now, we think of him as a kind of, not number 6, but a number 8, if anything, really. And we see at Real Madrid they played Seedorf as a cam, and Makelele along with Cambiasso, yes, as a centre defensive mid. But actually, when you realise Seedorf can drop a lot more deeper as a number 8 and number 6, perhaps better than Cambiasso is, who is more of a number 8 than, and perhaps a number 10 if needed be. Although we didn't see those glimpses at Inter, but we've seen that a lot with Argentina as they say, an auxiliary number 10, as a supporting number 10, from deep, like a box to box, perhaps, yeah, box to box, but can also play as a supporting role for the number 10, for like an Aymar, for example, in 2006, whereas Aymar would drift into second striker position into the number 11 role. He would then take the number 10 role. So Cambiasso, just elegant, cool. You know, cool before Pirlo was cool. That's how I describe Cambiasso. I love the guy. I cannot speak highly enough of him, really. I'm singing all the praises I can. Brilliant. Perhaps my favourite midfielder. Will I say my favourite midfielder in Inter Milan history? Ooh, it's a bit of a stretch. I would say, yeah. Well, he's the first one that came to my mind when I was going to create this team. And Schneider, I said, it was the best player in that Inter Milan treble-winning side. Okay, so then we have Matthaus, who is then, I think, has to play a bit deeper in case, as I said, Cambiasso's defensive abilities, at worst makeshift and at best practical and expedient and convenient, I would say. I mean, he's not. I mean, intuitive. He just does it on the job, like the Inzaghi of defensive midfield. Just does it on the job, and it just comes to him. But there's no real technique behind it, if that makes sense. Anyway, so to that end, we then need someone who's a bit more defensive, who can provide that security, that kind of blanket, that buffer zone in case things go wrong, and that's Matthaus, who can link up very well, as we saw, as people would see towards his twilight of his career at Bayern. He played a lot more of a libero role, a lot more of a deeper role, a kind of a false centre a false centre back, if you like. And I think why I picked him is because I was thinking, actually, I don't want Lucio to go out too much, just in case with a back three things go wrong and things go awry. I want to make it simple for Lucio. I want him to just focus on his job and just thread the ball to Lothar Matthaus, who can overlap between centre back, the liberated centre back, and the centre defensive mid. And I think he would provide that link very nicely. Allow Cambiasso to run up a little bit, And what's Matthaus' strength? Stamina, longevity, endurance, and distribution. These are his main strengths. Tackling as well, hard tackler as well, I must say, yes. Especially in his latter days because he played more defensive, whereas before when he was at Mönchengladbach in the late 70s and early 80s with Bayern Munich, he played more of a number 10. I want him more of the number 6. I want Cambiasso to be the number 8, and I want Schneider to be the number 10. Good. Okay, who is my front two? Very simple, because this is a 5-3-2 system, remember. So who's my front two? Very easy. Very easy for me. It has to be Ronaldo in the number 11 role. Ironically, he's a number 9, but I'll put him in the number 11 role to connect, because he can drop deep, and obviously his movement is second to none. Oof. It's like Mason Greenwood, I think. I mean, the guy copied Mason Greenwood rather than the other way around. Let's just say that, as a Gas United fan or a deluded United fan. And then has to be Christian Vieri, his partner in crime at Inter Milan. The sad thing is that actually we talk, a lot of Inter Milan's and lots of Serie A fans talk about that is one of the best partnerships. On paper it is, but in practice it wasn't. Why? Because they had overlapping injuries. Whenever Ronaldo was injured, Vieri was there. Whenever Vieri was injured, Ronaldo was playing. They never really found the same time. They were injured at different times. So they were not injured together, and they're not playing together a lot. But when they did play together, they had that chemistry, that natural chemistry, that immediate spark. Main reason was because they did a lot of bonding during their injuries, and Ronaldo was very close to Vieri, nightclubs, and obviously Vieri is known for his DJ now in Miami. Ronaldo, him, nightclubs, got to know each other very well, visited each other at the injury table, whatever you call it. So they knew each other very well, so they kind of understand. Very similar personalities as well, both very laid back guys, very chilled, very intuitive, very talented people who don't really need to go through, who don't like that training process of practicing routine set plays and build up plays and passages of play and patterns and etc. They just understood it, they hit it off. So those two have to be together. I mean, Ronaldo obviously would be in my team, and Vieri I think is, I still think, wow, Vieri, because he was had such a nomadic career. Every year he was changing clubs. His best days were at Atletico Madrid. Inter Milan, he was his longest, but he was most injury prone. He had a lot of injuries, but he has a very good goal scoring record there. I think it was like over 100 in like less than 200, less than 220. I have to check it out, but it was a very good record, similar to Harry Kane's at Spurs, which is 140 to 230 to 235. I think league goals, to league appearances. Anyways, Vieri, who was good, played at Milan. Milan was his obviously twilight. That was the end of his career basically at Milan. He did not in 2006, not there. I think Juve, he played well again one season, did bits with Filippo Inzaghi, got mixed up with his brother. Went to Atletico Madrid, did bits there, top goal scorer there, 24 goals in 25 appearances, I think. And he scored I think you guys have to look it out, one of the worldies. He scored a corner kick, basically. It wasn't a corner kick, but he scored from the corner flag, basically. I mean, it wasn't a corner kick. Basically, he went round the keeper and he just dragged the ball out wide. And then it just, like, goes for like a finesse, like a lob that just has such a beautiful parabola, beautiful arc, and just went top corner. So basically, the corner flag here is on your right, yeah? He went all the way there, or towards there, let's say more or less towards there, on the right-hand side, curls this beautiful cross, which looks like a cross. It wasn't a shot, but curls this beautiful ball in. And then it just then goes over the keeper's head and into the midriff of the left hand goal. Oh my goodness me! It's like Ronaldinho's free kick, if you like, from the corner flag, from the Ronaldo free kick from 2002 against David Seaman. Oh, it's Seaman and that malarkey, and I still think has been wrongly agreed. I think that's just a goal that nobody would expect to anticipate. Really, it just happens, and I think it's ruined his England career there, which I think was unfair, and he took a lot of stick from the media and from himself as well. I think it was not fair anyway. I think it was unsavable. Nobody expected that. But anyway, imagine that free kick which went like that, like that. Obviously, this is a schematic, a visual schematic. Imagine that from the corner flag, or just slightly before the corner flag, from there, and I think it was, I don't know if it was a European competition. I don't know whether it's UEFA or Champions League. I think it might be Champions League against Panathinaikos, I believe, the Greek side, PAOK. And he just did one of the beautiful curlers into the left-hand side from the opposite side, and completely confusing and befuddling the goalkeeper. But anyway, yeah, the guy again himself, a clinical goal scorer. Obviously, he is the front man. He is the number 9. He is the big man, the brute. The guy who will hold up the ball, will score beautiful goals as well. Again, not technically sound. There's no real techniques. Lots of intuition. He was blessed with that talent. And Ronaldo obviously will be linking up with him and doing their thing. Really, I don't think those two are requiring an analysis or an explanation. But yeah, that's my team. So I'm going to name it from, and the captain will be Zanetti, by the way, because he is the record holder. He has the most appearances in Inter Milan's history. I think over 750, 760. It's mad. 770, if ever, maybe. Okay, in goal we have Handanovic. We then have our back three: Giuseppe Bergomi, Lucio, Walter Samuel. Left-hand side, left wing back, we have Christian Chievu. Right wing back, we have Javier Zanetti. We have Lothar Matthäus in the number 6 role. Accompanying him would be, obviously it has to be, because I can't have a kind of a 3 line, a 3 dot, 6, 8, 10 in that kind of vertical formation. Doesn't make sense, but they will be playing in that way. But in the formation sheet or template, you would have a supporting number 6 or a false number 6 that will play a bit more advanced in Cambiasso. You don't have Esteban Cambiasso, that is. You then have the number 10 being, obviously, has to be Wesley Sneijder, and then the 2 number 9s. The 2 number 9s, yeah, my stand, which was actually in a tear glass, fell. It broke. It happens. Anyway, let me just finish it off. You then have Vieri supported by Ronaldo. So the Christian Vieri supported by Ronaldo Nazario. So that is my team. And bonus question was, why am I called the caretaker? Long story short, basically I came on one cold winter's evening at the Stoke of London, which is East Finchley, dressed up in a kind of long trench coat, windbreaker jacket of sorts with the puffer, with the kind of furry, puffy hoods. I was there to watch a football game, inspecting the Algerian team as usual, as a scout and a manager would do, of course. As a shameless one would do, of course, don't forget that. And basically, I met a brother came up to me. Well, a brother was talking to my friend, and I came to see my friend, and then the brother went to me, oh, who's this caretaker? So that's been the running joke ever since. But yeah, what is a caretaker? Caretaker is basically someone who's just a bit, for his age, acts older than he really is, dresses older than he really is. I'm into a lot of retro clothes, into fashion. If you see my Instagram highlights from 2016, you can see a real development there of fashion faux pas, to say the least. And yeah, just really into, old things that are a bit old, suited for the older demographic, for the, for the 49, for the 50 plus, early shades of grey kind of, early shades of grey. 50 Shades of Early Shades. I got mixed up with Earl Grey tea, which is what I was having. Anyway, yeah, 50 Shades of Grey kind of age brackets. I don't even know what that. I'm not watched the movie, so I don't want to get accused of, oh, he's talking about something that's salacious and sultry and that. I'm just talking about, 50 Shades of Grey, that demographic, And yeah, it's just someone who comes across as someone who's having a bit of a quarter life crisis, basically, and into old things, likes retro kits, likes coffee, which is not really popular apparently for people my age. My fellow contemporaries do not like coffee. It's all about lattes and macchiatos and chai green latte and boba teas and this stuff that I think is absolute nonsense, and it's just chemicals, really, isn't it? It just has no benefit whatsoever. It's just fancy in name, isn't it? It's just a fancy name for just basically crap. If crap could have a fancy name, it would be those. Various drinks, various beverages. So yeah, just into his coffee, stays up late, which is ironic because that's not really an old man thing. Old man sleeps early, but I'm not really much of a sleeper. So that's basically what the caretaker is. Likes to talk and waffle a lot, use big words, reads a lot, and that blah, 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 blah. I've heard the whole lot. Likes, quite academic and that stuff. So that's what a caretaker really is. It's a lifestyle that chose me. I didn't choose it. It chose me, basically, on that fateful night in East Finchley, aka the Stoke of London. So that's all my questions today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's done in 2 parts because, as you can tell, I'm not near my desktop, so I have to do it on my phone. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully, basically the next video, I don't think there will be one. I haven't got one in mind unless something funny or something extraordinary rather occurs in the Serie A league, which seems to be all but a formality, but we never know. There's been obviously slip-ups and more life than it actually seems to be in those in those events. So there's always more. Obviously, we have to wait until the fat lady sings, which will be an opera singer, I guess. Maybe, who knows? I don't know in Italian sense, but yeah. Wait until the cows come home. Alternatively, yeah. So we'll see what happens. If anything extraordinary happens, I will do a video on it. Most likely, I won't, because there's not really much to talk about. Maybe the Champions League I might do, actually. I can give you that as more of a definitive answer. Maybe the Champions League, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for spending basically spending your busy schedule, dedicating dedicating some time to your busy schedule, watching this verbose waffle, caretaker style, as one would perhaps say. Shameless caretaker style, that is. So thank you very much, all the best, and yeah, take care, bye.